ABC Grandstand's Quentin Hull has been calling the game and he's stuck about to have a chat with us from the Gabba. Quentin, thanks very much for joining us. A lot of interest in how Steve Smith would go, how Josh Hazlewood would go. In the end, it was merely VJ who was going and going.
Indeed it was, John. It was a terrific day for India and a day that they really needed. I think it was probably lost in the great drama of the Adelaide Test match that it was a great opportunity lost for India to get their series off to a good start in relatively placid conditions. They've never won here at the Gabba. This is their 6th Test match here and Australia hasn't lost here since 1988. So all the form guide pointed to Australia going to Boxing Day 2-0 up and basically one hand on the Border Gavaskar Trophy, but not on proceedings today. You mentioned a couple of those new names. Very tough day for Steve Smith's first day as Test captain. Josh Hazlewood ended his first day as an Australian Test bowler with calf cramps. Mitch Marsh did a hamstring. Mitchell Starc had some back problems. And as you mentioned, Murali Vijay, 4th bat in the series, 4th time past 50, but he finally got to a well-deserved century. Now he's got 5 Test centuries, 4 of which have come against Australia.
Quentin, we might return to some of the Aussies in a moment. I'd just like to stick with the Indian team for just a second. A lot of the cricket commentators have been talking about this new, fresh Indian team, the fact that a lot of them actually don't even seem to want to refer back to the Sachin Tendulkars and talk about the legacy of Indian cricket, but like to see themselves as a new bunch in their own right. Is that sort of being shown and was that displayed today?
Well, they're huge shadows to try and emerge from, aren't they, Kumi? You're speaking of icons of the game, Dravid, Tendulkar, Ganguly, all of these types of players. But MS Dhoni is a very strong leader, and for him to come back into the team, I think that's been a huge factor. But Murali Vijay, yep, a very high-class batsman, showed us today that he really is quite a mature player, really built his innings well. 40-odd not out at lunch, 70-odd not out at tea, and then really accelerated in the 3rd session of the day. And more than half of India's runs for the day came after tea time. So it's that, I think, confidence in their own game, the brave new world that they have almost no fear, this Indian team, sometimes to their detriment. But on a day like today, where conditions were very much like oppressive Indian conditions, they were able to use that brave approach and that self-confidence to real advantage.
And Quentin, did you get a sense of the captaincy of Steve Smith? Obviously, day one of a young captain's career, but was he just doing what Michael Clarke would do, or was he doing what Steve Smith wanted to do?
Yeah, John, hard to get a real feel for Stephen Smith's first day as captain, mainly because there were so many challenges thrown his way. I mean, it was early in the day when he lost Mitchell Marsh from the bowling crease, and then there were problems with Mitchell Starc having to go from the field in the middle of the day. He did return to bowl, but that's unnerving for bowling plans. And then late in the day, Josh Hazlewood gets the 2nd new ball, can only bowl 2 deliveries before he goes down with cramps. So as far as challenging days from a Test captain's perspective, I don't think you really could have made it any more challenging for Stephen Smith today. We seem to see him rotate the bowlers pretty well. He is captaining to pretty well established structures and plans under Darren Lehmann, but yeah, not the easiest of days for a Test captain to make his first appearance in that environment.
OK, so as he goes to sleep tonight, Quentin Hull at stumps, 311. India's got a big total. Does Stephen Smith start to look tonight and think, well, how do we counter that total? Do you go sort of on the defensive, or is he just going to have to sort of play a straight bat, no pun intended, and stick with a game plan so early on in this test?
Well, they've got to attack Kumi with this 2nd new ball. Gabba pitches, particularly the way it was presented today and after the weather we've had, it will be harder and faster tomorrow. There will be more pace in this pitch tomorrow. So Australia needs to really knock off that middle and lower order of India, which proved to be pretty fragile in Adelaide. But the thing is, this is a different middle and lower order. With the addition of Dhoni, with the addition of Ravi Ashwin, that 5 for 40 in the 1st innings and that 5 for 16 in the 2nd innings in Adelaide, that Indian crumble I don't think is going to happen here. So we've got a really tantalising first hour or so tomorrow.
All right, look forward to it, Quentin. Thank you very much for joining us from the Gabba tonight.